All right, hi everybody. I want to bring a new video and just fill in everybody of what's been happening over the last 3 or 4 months. I just haven't made a lot of videos. Interest in lack of content has just probably likely been the cause, but I want to bring this to you and keep you up to date on what's going on. I have, in the last couple of months, just gotten the bug. If you've watched some other videos, there's not a lot of them, but I've expressed interest that I wish I had a truck and a truck bed so that I could carry my newest e-bike around, and a truck is so versatile. I had a truck before I had this car and a Nissan crew cab, and I really liked that truck in general. It's just lacking a little bit more performance and obviously the acceleration and of this car. And so I battle between truck, a car for work, or I struggle with I want a quick fun car, fast, or a truck that's more utilitarian. And so I battle this back and forth every couple of years. So anyways, long story short, I went and I have looked at trading this in 2 times, and I just wake up and I've got the bug, man. And so I saw and I got a lot of thoughts in my head, and so I'm going to try to convey this to the camera and y'all so you can hear this and kind of what has happened. So I saw on some advertising, I saw that Nissan had their Pro 4X model, and it was the 4-wheel drive, and I was seeing these ridiculous ads for $189, $190 lease for 18 months, and I was like, man, that 18 months, I can do 18 months. I'll be tired of the truck by then. So I drove up about 70 miles round trip to McKinney Nissan there, and I went in, and they were straightforward. They were like, come in, we'll get you set up. And obviously I drove there, and I knew I didn't go there thinking that I would get the truck, but I was very disappointed while I was there. I was like, man, I can't sell my Q50. I cannot sell my Q50. I love my Q50. It is that great of a car that I will be upset later if I sell it. And I always have that feeling whenever I go somewhere and I'm thinking about doing something. I'm like, man, you cannot sell your Q50. But so the Pro 4X 4x4, which was a long shot, I went in there and they're like, Brian, once I got there and I drove there, come on in. They were like, that's really, that's BS. That's a Nissan, and there is pretty much no way we can get you in a lease like that. That is a joke. And they looked at my car and evaluated it. They wouldn't give me any numbers. They were lowballing even in this market on my car, they were being dishonest about the value of my car, and everyone underplays, even though the world's telling you, sell your car now, it's the best time ever. Not to a dealership, and probably likely 99% of the sources out there, because no one wants to pay that price. The dealerships don't want to pay the exorbitant price that everyone thinks they're going to get for their car. So, but long story short, they came back and they were like trying to be real friendly with me, and I'll be up front. My payments on this, I put $500 down, and for 3 years, and my lease payment is $450, so $500 down, $450 a month. And so this Nissan Pro 4X, and they only had one, and it was the cool green, the hunter green. They were like, man, your payments are about $680, $720, just depending on your credit. So I stupidly filled out a credit app, and I knew I wouldn't get that truck for that price. There's just no way that I'm gonna sell my car that's so badass and a $450 payment a month for something that is not any more badass and pay $700 to $800 a month. All right, so that was a wasted trip and wasted time. And they drove my car around and put more miles on it than I would have liked. So I was pretty pissed off about that, and the guy contacted me and he was like, yeah, Brian, that was pretty much kind of a scam to get you to come in. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm like, whatever. So then I kind of gave up on the truck aspect, because I really wanted the Ford Maverick hybrid. It is inexpensive, it's under 30 grand, and it gets like 40 to 50 miles a gallon depending on where you are in town or on the highway. And so, and it's gas and electric. So running around town, you're in electric, and then when you get up to higher speeds, and it switches over to motor. So that is a good idea, but you can't get those. Ford only made like 5,000 of them for the world, and they sold out within a short time, and you can't order them till next year, 2023. And then there'll probably be some confusion then, and they'll screw you out of your order. So no Ford Maverick. Okay, so this moves me on to my next just venture, okay? Listen up. I got an email from my company, my hotel photography company that basically is my agent. And they were like, Brian, we're ready to go. We got a full load. We need, you know, as many photographers as we can get. We love you. You're in Dallas. You're our long-term guy. We want to load you up. And so I was like, sign me up. And then immediately I thought, when I, you know, after that email, I was like, man, my car and the gas mileage, and, you know, gas for super unleaded, because I'm tuned, and there's just no way you can not run super unleaded in this car. And then if you're tuned, you don't, I mean, there's just no way to do it. So gas was $4.70 for premium, and now it's back down to what, maybe $4.20, $4.30. But that is still so expensive. We're looking at $65, $70. So I'd be driving everywhere. Plus, I love this car and I treat it so well. I just didn't want to, I don't like to drive it on the highway, and rock chips and window cracks and front grille damage from rocks, and train horn, of course. And just the damage and then the wear and tear that comes with the car. So always when I take these long trips, I'm like, man, I just don't want to take my car. I value and love it that much, and I want to protect it. So anyways, so the Nissan dealership screwed me. So then I was like, what gets really great gas mileage? And I was thinking, what do I like? And so the EV car, the Kia EV6, I really like that car and that car design. And it's kind of a crossover. I'm not a big crossover fan, but I mean, it looks good. It's got a low roof line. It kind of looks like a Porsche Cayenne, but a little bit lower. I mean, it's a good looking vehicle. And so I just got the urge, and I said, I'm driving the Kia of out there by Lake Ray Hubbard, whatever the town is out there. I'm drawing a blank right now. I got other things on my mind. But so I drove out there, and another pretty much kind of scam deal. They're very standoffish. It's like they have no incentive to sell cars. They're just waiting, because they get in a car and they immediately, it's sold before it gets there. So everyone's kind of got lazy, and you walk in there and they're like, look at my car, and, you know, a great car, and I'm expecting this kind of around ballpark for this. Well, what gave you that figure? You know, and they're real standoffish, and so it just sucks. Let me just express that to you. When I'm trying to buy two cars, I've got decent credit, and it was just a kind of a nightmare experience. But I drove the EV6, and it was the single motor rear wheel drive. They are going to be coming out with a all-wheel drive 2-motor version that has 575 horsepower and probably, you know, 500 foot-pounds or pound-feet of torque. It's going to be phenomenal, but it's going to be a $65,000 car. But anyways, Hyundai or Kia wouldn't discuss anything with me. They wouldn't talk about payments. They were demanding a credit app. They looked at my car, and this is important for people to know. You know, the value, you know, everyone thinks my car's worth so much now because of this crazy freaking stupid car market, resale market, and new car market. And so they told me, we're just going to go to auction, and when we buy cars, we buy most of our cars from auction. And if we're going to buy a car, we're going to compare it to our auction prices. And I was like, bucko, this is not an auction car. This is a one-owner car by me. It's got under 20,000 miles on it, and it's 3 years old, and so it's got low mileage. I pulled out my owner's manual, and I document all my oil changes, and I was like, look here. I was like, this is not an auction car that you know nothing about. That's probably been auction cars are bought by small shops, And the whole regard is to buy the car as cheap as possible and do as little to make it look good, and then sell it and make as much profit possible. So with that philosophy, 95% of the time you're going to get a car that has not been treated well and it's been stuck together with super glue, and that just kind of in short terms, you know. But that's what happens when you buy cars from auction. These guys, they know nothing about them. There's no documentation. They come from all over the United States. And, you know, water damage, crash damage, I mean, just everything under the sun could be done to the auction car. So anyways, they told me, and they were like, well, what do you think this car's worth? And I was like, I don't know, you know, I think ballpark it's worth probably 28, 29. He was like, where did you get that figure, mister? And I was like, well, you know, I've done a little research and I think that's what it's worth. So later they came back to me and they said, we went to auction, and one of these at auction with probably 50 to 60,000 miles on it, they go, it is $30,000. So you were probably underbidding yourself. And I was like, well, it'd be better to underbid for me to come in and not, you know, say I need $35,000 or $40,000 for my car. But anyways, the Kia didn't work out because they wouldn't tell me payments. And then I found out through them, for me to sell my car to Kia, that I have to trade my car back into the Infiniti dealership I bought it. And they told me, I called my Infiniti dealership, and they said because of the environment that we're in and over the times that we're in, that they have changed policy. And these more luxury side of the cars, when you lease them, you can't sell them outright to another dealership, which I've done in the past. Very easy to do. So the problem was I had to go sell my car to Infiniti and probably, you know, get maybe a few more $1,000s than what, you know, than what's owed on the car. But then I would not have a car. They would basically drive me home and drop me off, and then I'd have to find my way to the Kia dealership, and then they wouldn't tell me a price for the car. I fought them, and I was like, man, hey, if you want to sell a car, would just ballpark me, you know, what a monthly payment is. And they just wouldn't do it. They said, nope, not doing it. And so I got smart, and I just went to Kia's online configure of the EV6, plugged in, and they have a configurator there, and you can enter in your credit score, and you can enter in you know, how much you're putting down and so forth, and it gives you a payment. And the Kia EV6 was marked up to like $690 a month, all the way up to the low 800s. You know, if you were a little bit lower in the credit score, you know, like 630s, it could be $800 a month for a lease. And then if you had 720, it would be $680. And so I was like, what a, no, sir. I'm not buying a $680 car when I have such a great car like this Q50. I was like, it's just not worth it. You know, there might be a little bit of savings, you know, with power and fuel versus fuel, you know, over time, depending on where I charge. You know, if it's at home or if I have to charge out on the road, because that gets expensive, that starts cranking up similar to gas prices. So long story short, sorry if I'm making the video too long, I drove out there like 50 miles and wasted, you know, that gas and got nowhere. And this just seems like nobody wanted to work with me, and everyone just wants to sit. And they got these great cars coming in, and there's so many idiotic people out there that are racing to get these cars like it's the end of the world. And so they sell them before they get them in, so they don't have to do anything. They're order takers. And that sucks for the car industry, as probably anyone else knows. But that's my story on my Infiniti Q50. I mean, when I was doing both of those car trades, looking at doing that, in the back of my head I was crying. I was like sitting there when the salesperson went away to, you know, go talk to the boss. I was like, man, what are you doing, Brian? I was like, you've got a gorgeous car. It's in perfect working order. It gets like 32 miles a gallon on the highway. It gets, 20 to 23 in the city on more open roads, and maybe 18, 19 in really heavy traffic. It's not terrible. It's not terrible, but this car drives so good, and it is so fast because I have it tuned. And it's just a fantastic car for me. It may not be the right, for some other people, but I just love this car. I love the look of it, and I just wanted to bring this to y'all, because when I was looking at that Kia, I was really saddened. I was like looking out at my car, I was like, man, I can't sell that. I mean, even if I made $2,000 or $3,000 and I sold it, I'd be left out to buy another vehicle that's got $15,000 markup. I was like, this is just a lose-lose situation no matter what. So I'm back with my Q50. I'm happy. I love my Q50. Like I've told you, such a great car. So I thought I'd share my story with you, because I've almost traded this twice. I was close, and luckily I didn't. And I'm excited to say that, man, I just enjoy my car so much. So hopefully if you have a Q50 or Q60, and it's been treated right, then it's treating you well too. And that's just my hopes and goals for everybody and for myself. So it looks like I will keep this car for who knows, how much longer. I will buy my lease out, because they have quoted me 2 years ago when Infiniti tried to buy this from me, that I will owe kind of a ridiculously low amount. I think it was $22,500 or $23,000 in the 2019 market when I got the car. And so they're just itching, because they know my mileage, to buy this car. So not give me what it's worth, but they can turn around and charge an exorbitant price for it. And of course, everybody's greedy, and that's life, but kind of sad. But other than that, thanks for viewing. I'm sorry the video's long, and look forward to more content as I get the urge to make it. Okay, thanks for viewing. This is Brian. Bye bye. I'm out.